Namaste. We are in conversation with Shri Pavan Kumar Mishra ji, who is the author of Living Hanuman, a very magnanimous book. I have been reading, absorbing, analyzing, writing reviews for this book, and it has been a very surprisingly exciting journey to come across perspectives, concept, theories which are beyond Hanuman Chalisa. So, we are going to have these series of interviews where we are going to discuss Chalisa and beyond. There are also series of interviews going on, study circles going on, which are analyzing what he has written on Hanuman Chalisa. Today, the concept that I would like to ask Pavanji is, how did he correlate Hanumanji with organ donation? Organ donation is the a very important need of the hour, and how could he, correlate these two? So, would you please like to say something on it?
Thank you. Uh, the correlation between Hanumanji and organ donation is more obvious than it appears. Hanumanji is known as Bajrangi, one whose body is made up of Vajra. Also, it is mentioned in the Chalisa, Hath Vajra, Aut Dhwaja Viraji. He is holding Vajra in his hands, or his hands are of Vajra. Of course, this allusion moves into the Buddhist bodhisattvas who are known as Vajrapani and Vajrasattva, but that is a separate understanding and journey altogether. So Vajra was made out of the spinal column that sage Dadhichi offered, gifted, donated to Indra to kill a demon known as Vritasura. So Vajra is the essence of the spinal column donated by sage Dadichi, Vedic sage. Immediately it connected that a person whose body is made up of Vajra is in essence that he embodies the essence of giving his whole body for the service of humanity. And more particularly, donating his whole body in terms of an organ, as Sage Dadichi donated his spinal column for the creation of Vajra. So that was the correlation.
What a beautiful correlation. So, Pavanji, are you trying to say that because we have found an illusion in our Hindu literature of 16th century Hanuman Chalisa, so organ donation is only urged, is only to be done by Hindus and not other religions, because we found an illusion here, an example here, so it can be followed. But what about the other religions?
We just happen to find this allusion in our tradition because our tradition is of giving. But that does not mean that other traditions don't have such allusions of giving. Maybe not directly an organ, but an illusion of giving one's life for the benefit of others. You'll have to keep in mind that organ donation as a concept is quite recent. It was only in 1904 when cornea transplant took place, or 1954 when the kidney transplant took place, just about 70, 80 odd years ago, that organ donation began to come up in social consciousness, and now much more. But before that, there was no idea about organ donation. There was no concept of organ donation. And therefore, allusions to organ donation are missing in religious literature. In Hindu literature, we find it. But that does not mean that that only Hindus must donate organ and no one else must.
And we also see the allusions in some other literature as well, which you have mentioned in the book.
Yes, exactly. There are some other literature or some practices. For example, the practice in Zoroastrian religion of disposing their dead by keeping the dead body on the roof of the crematorium. And that is where birds, like especially hawks and vultures, they come down and eat the body up. It is an expression of the sentiment that the body should not merely be burnt and destroyed, but if it is a food for some other animal, may that animal eat that. Similarly, certain traditions within Theravada Buddhism offer the body of their monks to jackals in the forest. So, this idea of giving a living body, a dead body, which can be a food for another animal, is prevalent in other traditions also, like this.
So, are you trying to fearlessly reject the whole concept of funeral rites, of funeral rituals?
On the opposite, I stand for all the funeral rituals to be done the way they are done and carried forward because it's a sacred ritual. But you have to understand that funeral rituals are meant for the departed soul, the consciousness that lives within the body. Once that consciousness leaves the body is devoid of that entity for which the rituals are being done. So, funeral rituals normally have two aspects of it. One is the cremation or the disposal of the body and rituals related to that. And another set of rituals, which are longer and more profound, are rituals related to the onward journey of the departed soul. So that side of the ritual should be totally continued the way it is and the way it has been practiced. As far as disposal of the body is concerned, I am proposing that instead of destroying a body or just simply burning it up, a body, one human dead body can save up to 50 lives. One dead body can educate 25 medical students on how a dead body should be, how a body should be. So such a valuable thing as a dead body should not simply be burnt. It is as I will say, as criminal to burn a dead body or just bury it, as it is as if you have stayed in a house and when you leave that house, you just burn it. Or you take a car on lease, and after you have reached your destination, you burn the car. You don't burn the car, you just park it for somebody else to use it. Similarly, this body is also like a vehicle of the conscious. So once the consciousness arrives on earth, it gets the body as on lease. When the consciousness departs, the body has to be parked away. However, the rituals related to the body part can also be carried out. One can take, I proposed in the book, you can take a little small finger, little bit of the little finger and do all the bodily rituals to that little finger, or take a bunch of hair and do all the rituals related to the dead body on that small part of the body, because that also holds genetic code. That is the only alteration I have proposed.
What a beautiful way of explaining about how you can give your body in support of others. Have you decided on organ donation, Pavanji? It's a personal.
Absolutely. My body is pledged to the Himalayan hospital where I stay here, and it is pledged for medical research and study because the organs can't, me, myself being diabetic, my organs can't be donated for transplant. Also, the word donation is not appropriate. This body belongs to the earth. It was taken on lease when we arrived on earth. To give it back to earth is not donation, it's just our sacred duty or the right way to do it. So we do not need to use the word donation or gift or offering. These words are not suitable when it comes to agreeing for organ transplant from your once you leave the body, that your body is used by people who are here on earth in whichever way they want to use it.
So we can call it organ gratitude instead of organ donation.
Gratitude in another way, that I am grateful that my body can still be used in some way, not the other way around. Not that somebody else should be grateful to me for receiving an organ. That is that person's right. because I'm no longer using it any which ways. So I am grateful that the donor, so-called donor, I mean, we don't have any other word, the donor should be grateful that his body has been received uh, and made of some use for as much more time as it is possible, rather than uh, making it sound as if you're doing a big deal to pledging your body for donation.
I think, especially coming, this kind of words coming from a person who is living Vedic tradition and is not a practicing doctor. And but what I feel is you have also backed your philosophy on organ donation with a lot of scientific papers. And this is one of the most profound things that I have read in this book or read in any books in recent times. And I hope you and I, not only just you, me, but everyone else joins us. And even if we can derive home 1 point to one donor, we would be saving 50 more lives, or we would be of use to 25 medical students. So I hope everyone who's watching this joins us with in organ donation and start not just pledging your own organs for donation, but also educating, spreading awareness around us. So, and also, Pavanji, I would like to say your book has so many concepts, theories, which we are trying to live. It's not just living Hanuman, but it's imbibing it in your everyday life. Thank you very much for this profound book, and we shall have a few more interviews on some theories, concepts, perspectives from this book, Living Hanuman. Thank you. Namaste.